the way you handle your PC security or desktop security, the way you handle network security within your organization, physical security, then how do you categorize information as something as confidential, not confidential, something as public. Then if there's a security incident, how do you handle it, how the escalation happens. How the if there is some, for example, you may be handling some client information which are health information of your clients. Maybe these are comes under the HIPAA Act or the HITECH Act. So if there are also some kind of client-driven complaints, then how do you handle them? Emails, what kind of security mechanism you have for emails, for applications. It could be a custom application or your own application. You could be running a SAP Business One or a SAP Enterprise version. And you should not have a situation where your policy states that you have a 8-character alphanumeric password and your application has a 5-character password. So there has to be something where everything matches together. You have a lot of applications which talk to each other, so you need to know what kind of interface that happens. When the data moves from one application to the other, is there some kind of an encryption that's happening? For an operating system level, you have a Linux, Unix, different flavors, AIX. So what should be the security for each different types of environment that you have within your company? You have like databases, Oracle or MS SQL. So we need to look at each IT security infrastructure asset and then look at what is the kind of security initiative or security settings that you must do. For example, Windows, we could have a group policy. Let's say you have a group policy in Windows. Within the group policy, what you must do? You must have restricted access to USBs. You must have don't save any files on your local drives. You must have, I'm saying, could be, you could do all these settings. You can do about 150 settings on the group policy. So what's applicable for you is something that we must determine that you must deploy. So, a very critical aspect of the ISM is actually the training that happens to people, because ultimately we have found recently there was this incident where this again happened at a software major. Someone called up their CFO or someone said, we are changing the password due to some problem in your mail server. They are changing the passwords. Can you please give your password? And the CFO gave his password. His mail account's password. He said, my password is and later on they realized there was no such thing. They didn't know who called the mail, the CFO asked him for his password. And later on he told his head of IT saying that, someone asked me for my password, what happened? So he said, no, we have not raised any such request. So just imagine, so let's say I get the CFO's password, I can as well, send an email. I send an obscene mail from the CFO's ID. It becomes a huge front page news, right? CFO of the company sent this mail to this. So ultimately training is very critical. In fact, today if you look at banks are today training their customers on how to use internet banking. They're saying don't respond to this, don't respond to that. I never ask for you for your password. I never ask you for your PIN. The banks are saying all that. So same way you have to tell companies, you have to tell your employees, you have to tell your people, saying that we will not ask you for information. I'm not going to come and ask you for your password. So these are very critical things, and strangely these are happening in large companies. MSMEs being at a run lower than large companies in terms of IT security training and awareness. I'm sure the issues will be much more. The benefits of ISMS, one thing is you have a very centralized area where you can control security, so it's not as though the finance department determines that I need to buy something, firewall for my machines, or I need to give access. So you have a centralized team which takes care of IT security. So that way it's a very effective way to kind of control your IT security in the company. And second thing is it kind of touches all parts of the organization. As I said, it touches right from a physical security card at the entrance to the system administrator sitting inside the server. So it kind of looks at a very holistic entire organizational view. And the bigger advantage is a BCP document, is a BCP plan or a VR plan which is suited to your size. So ultimately you may have a solution which is just about writing, taking a 40 external hard disk drive and writing your backups onto that and keeping it discovered and systematic. But it's a very effective process. We have found that that's also nothing wrong with that process. So you have found a really good backup and a disaster recovery alternative which is suited to what your size is. So maybe you have another tie-up with another MSME saying that in case all my servers crash or systems crash or something happens, I kind of share your infrastructure for some time, where I could probably use some of your laptops and some of your machines or some of your servers for. Today there are a lot of cloud initiatives which enables people to borrow processing power from the cloud. So these kind of initiatives are possible. So ultimately these are the deliverables from an ISMS which enables you to take advantage of these kind of plans. And compliance or demonstrating that you are complying to a very high level of IT security is ultimately very productive, because companies, when you are again bidding for large contracts or bidding for companies with say the US or so, they look at what kind of certifications you have for IT. So they look at, are you SAS 70 certified? Are you ISO 27001 certified? Do you have an ISO in place? So if you look at today, any contract that you bid from an overseas partner, they have a questionnaire where they ask you these kind of questions. What is your demonstration to IT security? Do you have SAS 70, say 16 certification? Do you have an ISO 27001? Do you have that at this side? So yes, so the benefit is that with your customers, you can demonstrate that, yeah, I have a robust mechanism by which I can take care of my IT security requirement. So this is in some, what an ISMS can deliver you in terms of your IT security. So ultimately, as I mentioned right at the beginning, there is no one fit or there is no 10 steps by which you can say that you are secure. Ultimately, business has to determine that this is the IT security requirement structure that I want, and then we look at how do we secure that. So, any questions?
You are dealing with data security, data privacy and security compliance. So you must be aware that dealing only with two laws. One is the European Union and the US. So in India, how strong do you think this will imply? In fact, any cases that you come across, because we always sign, as you said, cross-border contracts on these things. We always sign with either a European very stringent law or a very relaxed US law. We don't have any Indian, India specified acts or laws doing this.
Yeah, in India the BSA is at a very nascent stage. They just conduct meetings once in a while. I think that's the focus as of now. But in all these cases, it's ultimately what the client wants. It's driven by what the client requirements are. So largely what we have found is that organizations tend to have very strict documented contracts, SLAs with their clients, which specify what should be the controls that should be implemented at your site. And then we look at what the client SLAs with the clients are. So I think if you're doing work for a European Union entity or a US entity, your client would kind of push down his requirements onto you. So and you are no longer driven by what Indian laws state or what other laws state.
Not only for cross-border, in fact, for a contract between two entities within India.
Correct.
And where they will have an affiliate capacity as well.
Yeah.
And we are forced to sign only the European Union.
Precisely, yeah. Because as of now we don't have very clear guidance in India in terms of what should be the as I said, it's what the client wants. So
people should initiate it and formulate a policy. That's what I was.
Yeah. There are forums which are NASCOM has a couple of forums on this thing. This was started a couple of years back, and there are meetings which happen in Chennai also. The TSA meetings happen in Chennai. But as of now, they have not come up with any kind of formal model or formal, say, legislation or compliance.
I have a feeling that we will be adopting
Yeah.
So either European, I don't think European is anywhere possible, anywhere near possible because the laws are totally different and we can never adopt it. And probably in the US, we have to adopt it.
As I said, we have the entire IT security. If you look at the industry today, all the compliance is actually pushed out. We have learned from what the US and Israel has done. I mean, there's nothing that we have learned on our own. I'll tell often to this audience. In fact, we today look at for doing vulnerability assessments of servers, we have something called the NIST in the US, National Institute of Standards and
Every
Technology.
residence is taken from there.
So they have given very detailed guidance on how your Windows should be secure. We are adopting that here. To secure our Windows servers, we are adopting what the NIST in the US has mentioned. Because we don't have any clear-cut guidance from the government that says that, or at a policy level or an apex level, there's no guidance which states that your Windows servers must have this kind of config. So we are adopting where those conflicts are available. So as you said, I mean, we are just
Very unfortunate for Indian law, but Indian people like you get settled in there and they work for the government there, and unfortunately we are just left alone there. That's probably the main reason we don't have a formulated policy for data security, data compliance.
I think it should change. Should change.
Hopefully. Okay.
We're talking about insider threat, right? That is one of the main reasons it's happening up. Is there some kind of common blacklist at the country level between so they don't go and affect another organization?
No, insider threat, basically, you see, it doesn't talk about a country inside threat from that perspective.
No,
Say,
a guy who is a system administrator who is affected in organizations, he easily goes and gets a job with a much higher pay in another organization and there is a potential loss.
Yeah, that's what I said. Today, there is absolutely no forum where we share IT security incidents. There is no forum. Even either at the cyber crime level or anything, there is no forum. So that's where the background checks are very important. So there is a section on personal screening and security in one of the slides. So you will have background checks to be done on employees. You will touch base with the previous. Yeah. So you will touch base with the previous employers, find out what is it. Yeah. So what he has done. Maybe do a Googling. A lot of companies now today do Googling on their employees because so much of information is available on the social networks and social space on Google. So you just type SOHN on Google, it shows up so much information about him, so much of wealth of information about what he's done, his Facebook, what he went, what he had for dinner last evening. So the entire information about a person is today available on the net. So that way companies are today doing a lot of initiatives such as background checks, doing Googling, doing police verifications for very critical kind of let's say someone is going to the defense. There are doing police checks, police clearance as well.
As a criminal background. And probably not very